If you've gotten frustrated screen printing white ink, this tutorial is for you. I'll be honest, white ink is tricky, so if you're brand new to screen printing, I recommend starting with the dark ink so you can get a better feel for the process before you try white ink. But once you've gotten the hang of screen printing, you can master white ink. I'm going to show you how I screen print white ink on a few different dark shirts. I'm going to use two different types of ink and two different methods for screen printing. I'm hoping that by showing you these variations, you can get a better feel for the results you can expect when you're trying this for the first time. First, I want to point out that choosing a high quality blank t-shirt is especially important when you're using white ink. I'm using Comfort Wash by Hanes for this tutorial. These shirts are designed to minimize issues with dye migration, and I find they work really well with white inks. Plus, I love the way that they feel. These are like your favorite shirt that's been washed a million times. They're soft, but not super thin weight. Okay, let's get started with the first round of shirts. I am using adhesive vinyl that I cut on my Cricut, and I'm applying it to a Speedball screen printing frame. I'm using transfer tape that's available in my shop. This stuff works really well when you're applying vinyl to your screen. I'm going to start with Speedball's regular white fabric ink. This is the ink you've probably seen in your craft store or in the starter screen printing kits. I put my screen on my t-shirt and I'm going to squeegee the ink over a few times. Then I lift the screen to reveal the final result. It looks really nice and sharp from a distance, but if you look closely, you'll see that it isn't a solid white. You can see some of the black shirt coming through the ink. The problem is, once we've lifted the screen up, we can't put the screen back down and add more ink. That's just the limitation of screen printing on a table, is that it is just almost impossible to get it to line back up precisely so that you could add another coat of ink. The solution I've found to get a more solid white ink coverage is to use a one-color screen printing press. I squeegee one coat of ink, then I lift my screen, and I'm going to use my Ryonet flash dryer to quickly dry that layer of ink. You can also use a heat gun. Once it's dry to the touch, you can add another layer of ink and repeat this process until you get a much brighter white. If you look at the two methods side by side, you'll see that the first shirt we did is not as bright of a white as the second one. Now, I'll warn you, with this type of ink, it is prone to cracking when you wash it. So if you don't want cracking, I want to show you what the Speedball Opaque Pearl ink looks like. If you don't have the press yet, you can still use this ink on your table. This opaque ink has a slightly different look to it and consistency. It has a little shimmer effect to it, and you'll notice that the ink is closer in consistency to some of the dark inks that you might have used. I'm going to repeat the process, squeegeeing over a few times, and you'll see that this has a slightly different look to it. It's almost a little more polished than the regular white ink because of that shimmer effect. Now, if you have the press, layering a few coats of this opaque ink is my favorite method when I want a solid, bright white. I find that this ink is also a little softer to the touch and it doesn't crack in the wash. So here you can see it's a bright white and doesn't look as shimmery when you layer a few coats. This is my favorite solution for a solid white on a dark t-shirt. Now I'm going to speed things up and show you this exact same process on a red shirt and then again on a navy shirt, so you can see how the white ink looks on different color shirts.